Man, here we are today. We at Shaker Heights High School. We got Coach Danny Young here. This was one that I really had to capture. Me and Danny, we always have good words, and I think his story needed to be told. And I love having him on the show today. So basically, man, I'm gonna let Danny introduce himself, kind of tell you a little bit about him, where he's going, where he wants to go, and things that he's accomplished and did. So, Danny, man, the floor is yours.
All right. As my guy Malik just said, my name is Danny Young. I'm the head coach here at Shaker Heights High School. This is the start of year 34. All my years in Shaker Heights, I have not worked anyplace else. I was Bob Wanson's longtime assistant for 17 years, where I was a JV coach. And then during that time span, I got asked to moved up, and then, some unfortunate things happened where Bob passed away, and then I got the job, and then the rest is history.
Gotcha.
So it's been a long time coming, but it's been a great ride for me. I'm still energetic, enthusiastic about the field of coaching.
Yeah, man, me and Danny talked prior to this, and one thing we always gets back to is last year when I talked to him in the wintertime. It was not middle of the year, it's kind of close to the end, and he was like, we were right there, like we're a couple pieces away from figuring out, how to really get this thing rolling. They played Euclid. I happen to be working there. We played Euclid. I'm at the game. I see Danny. He always show the same love I see every time I see him. So he's like, we talk, and then I watch the game. They come back. They're down 15 or 18 in the fourth. Come back and I think did you go to OT?
Went
three overtimes and pulled out a win, a comeback. And if you don't understand, coming back from that deficit in the fourth quarter with no shot clock, you really got to be playing hard, So after that, man, they just start rolling. It was, I think who'd y'all play after that? St. V? Beat St. V at St. V, right?
At St. V.
At St. V. That's a tough place to play.
That's a tough place to play.
That was, and I just was watching from the outside. I'm like, man, Danny, we talked, and now that they figuring out they're rolling. Yeah. So y'all went on to do, I think y'all won
regional final, Elite Eight.
You would have never thought. In a conversation, you was like, all right, we gonna watch this year, then we gonna get back to it. Yeah. But you reloaded with some talent now this year. You got a couple transfers, which is great. Yeah. You got a lot of city guys who stayed home, which is also awesome. So those are things that I think some of the kids need to understand. If you want to dive into a little bit about like staying home or coming back home or whatever the case may be, but you can dive into that a little bit and tell us about that.
I like to expand on last year a little bit.
Gotcha.
Because I thought last year was a very unique year. I want to start by prefacing it. It was very challenging in terms of the first 2 months of the season. Yeah. We were 1-11. Did not win a single game in January, not one game. And during that time from November to January, it was 4 40-point blowouts running clock.
Man.
So it was a lot of times where you could have folded, given up, and even get fired. So in this space we're in right now meeting, I called a staff meeting. I said, it is what it is. We're going to stay positive. Yeah. We're in the business of being change agents for kids.
For sure.
Yes, we want to win basketball games. Yeah. Yes, we want to help kids get to college.
For sure.
But ultimately, let's focus on when they leave practice, they're going home having a good experience being around us for 2 hours.
Gotcha.
And then I'll tell you what really changed it. I was looking for something to latch on to that was motivational. And it wasn't basketball. Yeah. It was the Super Bowl. When the head coach of the Eagles said this during his interview when he won the game. Yeah. You can't be great without the greatness of others. You can't be great without the greatness of others. So every moment I could during pregame talks, postgame talks, like even at Euclid, J10 got the shine because he led us in scoring. But in the postgame talk, I said, J10, what's our quote? I already know, coach. I can't be great without the greatness of others. So you don't get 25 if Rachel don't get 12. Yeah. You don't get 25 if Chris don't chip in and get 12 too. Your 25 was what the papers are going to talk about in the media, but you couldn't have done that if you weren't great with your teammates.
For sure.
So they really bought into that. And another one, when we're losing, we always meet up in the weight room, and then we say a quick little post-game talk, 1, 2, 3 family, quiet prayer, and we out. And then as I see them come back out, us as coaches, we trying to figure out, dang, man, what happened? Why we lose, man? What you see? I should have done this. And all of a sudden, they popping out with energy. Like, they come out the locker room
they ready to go.
I'm like, hold up. Like, we just got smacked by 40, but you got energy.
Yeah.
I said, Coach, they're not emptying their tanks.
For sure.
So those are 2 things that I locked in on.
Yeah.
Be able to tell me you emptied your tank after a game. Yeah. And number 2, believe that everybody chipped into this win.
100%.
And then the third thing I said to him was, I got 5 straight A dudes on the team. And 1 national merit finalist.
Yeah. Dang.
And we can't figure out basketball? 4.9s, 3.9s, 3.4s, 1 5.0 national marathon, and y'all can't figure out this?
Yeah.
I would point to the hallway and say, you got that figured out, but you can't figure out this?
Yeah.
And they start, you can see a little computer's running like, Coach, you got a point. Like, he do got a little point. Like, we are pretty smart dudes. And then I told my assistant who breaks down, Coach Adrian Lewis, he breaks down the data from Huddle and all that. And I said, Coach, we just need 1. Yeah. We need 1 data point. Because we didn't have a data point. I had nothing I could say if you get this many rebounds, if you do this, So now once we got that Euclid win, that's the data point I needed. And then from there, those four pockets, empty your tanks, can't be great without others, the data point from the win, and then working hard, emptying your tanks, and then it just skyrocketed.
I mean, I watched that game, man.
I was in the shock.
I watched that game. I watched it to the end. I was going to leave at halftime, and I'm like, I didn't watch the game, and when I tell you, that's the hardest I've ever seen like kids play. Yeah. You guys were playing hard. You guys were rebounding. You guys were, turning them over and finishing. And I said, man, at one point, in the fourth quarter, started the run. You guys had 2 back-to-back and ones. And I remember that because I was standing on the sideline and you guys were going towards the concession stand. And I was like, dude, they hooping. Like, now they starting to, now they starting to plan. But, people always talk about, like, your delivery and how you speak to the kids. And I'm like, some of those kids need to understand that when I get in that coaching mode, I'm coming from a place of love. A competitor, and I love. So it's just like, I'm fueled up. I'm ready to go. So tell me a time where like your selflessness led to some success. That name a situation where that was a key part of what you had to do in order to get that success that you were looking for.
I don't know if I have one particular story, but I can think of multiple players where I had to sacrifice in really owning their academic progress.
Got you.
Knowing what classes they're in, knowing where their grades are, knowing where their ACT, SAT score is, owning their home environment a little bit. Yeah. Because some of the situations lack male role models.
Got you.
And big then factor. Sometimes financially. Yeah. Even away from my own personal kids.
Yeah, those are big factors.
I got a daughter, I got a son, I got a wife. Sometimes I would take from their pot, because the stipend we get, I'm probably one of the lowest paid coaches in Cleveland. But I don't eat off being a coach. I eat off I was a principal for 18 years. Now I'm back in school counseling, so that's what I eat off of. But that selflessness, if they need a warm up, I'm gonna make a way to get it. If they need the shoes, I make a way to get it. If sometimes after practice they don't know where the food is gonna be when they get home, we got food cards. We're gonna give you money. We're gonna make sure you're good to eat. Whatever it is, I'm gonna make sure they have what they need. Because I had a rough coach when I was in high school, and I always vow that if I ever become a head coach, it's bigger than basketball.
100%.
And what I tell the kids, let's use each other.
Right.
I'm going to use you to win games. Yeah. Use me to get everything you can out of what you want out of your future. 100%. I don't ever tell a kid where they can play. Right. But I really know, I can tell you in 2 hours the level they're going to go at. But I don't want to burst nobody's bubble. Yeah. And I don't want no parents saying you're a dream stealer. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're stealing my son's dream. But after a while, we're going to have that reality check. Because whoever calling you is who you are. Yeah. But I try to make sure all my kids get to school. Like, I'm very proud that when you win, the college coaches listen a little bit better. Yeah. When I was struggling a year ago, it was hard getting my guys in school. I got to be very, very honest. Gotcha. But just 2 weeks ago, I picked the phone up. One text, I got Reggie Appleby and Chris Cunningham, an official visit to Hiram.
Yeah.
And what helped it was I was able to text, hey, coach, you might want to check out Reggie, 6'3", wing forward, slasher, athletic, serviceable three, working on the midi, strong frame, can guard, 3.9 GPA.
Seller.
Played on the Elite 8 team last year. He's a winner, coach. Get on him. Within hours, he called back, and I looped Reggie in that text with his mom. And the coach said, Coach, I'm on it. Reggie just sent me an edit where he's going out, I think, next week. Same thing for Chris.
Yeah.
So that's what I enjoy. You know, because if I can develop college level players, that means I'm going to win some games.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I think, you know, when it comes to when I was in high school, and I was just telling you about this a little bit ago. When I was in high school, it came to a point where I was scoring a lot, and like I wasn't getting the recognition that you know I wanted. So it was like the coaches weren't coming to see me; they were coming to see the kid who he had 12 points and maybe 8 rebounds, or you know he was doing this thing. You know, he's a hustle guy, whatever. But I'm thinking, you know, I was being selfish in the sense where it was about me and not about the overall team and how can I help us win games. And I think if I shifted gears and I changed how I approached the game, I think we would have won a lot more. But I mean, you got to think in 2012, I'm up against the Jordan Barhams, the Terry Roziers. I'm playing against Garfield Heights with Terrell Bird and you know all of those guys, Mike Davis. So like it was a lot I was up against. But you know I remember coming here and playing here, and I think I remember Terry had 30 at halftime, and I don't even think you let him play in the third. No, you let him start the third. He played 4 minutes in the third quarter. We ain't see him no more after that. But you know, at that point, I was just like, you know, like Danny, you had an option. You could run it up on us, or you could be like, you know what, like, hey, like we already knew what was going on. You know, going into the game, that team was loaded with talent. And not just talent, but guys who just loved basketball and wanted to play hard, which was just awesome. So, you know, coaching for you is a lot different for a lot of other people when your goal is you've been here this long and I see you every summer. For the last 3 years, I've seen you every summer, and you know you always tell me the same thing. Oh, they gonna play hard. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna play hard. You know, I don't know how good they're gonna be. They're gonna play hard. So that's what they do every summer. They're in the conversation. You guys beat some people this summer where I was like, Shaker won, like, you know, and I'm like, and that's no knock on you, but who y'all playing, and you know, stuff like that. So, you know, that's where it separates in the city. And I had to sit down and have a conversation with you because I'm like, man, you know, me and you talk all the time. Your son, like we chat all the time, man, and it's hard now to have those relationships with coaches where you guys have off the court relationships. You know, basketball has brought all of this together, and it's crazy something so small has created something so big in the community, man. So it's things that basically one thing that I really want to know is, and I know like how long you been married?
I've been married 28 years.
Okay.
Just had an anniversary with my wife Kenya August 2nd.
Jeez.
28.
And basketball has been the forefront of your entire life. So
we're a hoop family.
How does that play a role in your success? Obviously, coaching or like you know time away from you know her. What was those conversations like at some point? You know?
She's been phenomenal. What a lot of people don't know, she was a hooper.
God, where's she hooping?
She hooped at Akron Central, Howard.
Okay.
Point guard. That's probably where my son gets it from. They say most of the talent comes from the mom. Well, she was a fast point guard. Couldn't shoot a lick, though. Couldn't shoot a lick. So the shot come from me and my daughter. But the quickness and the handle, that was all her. But even when I was JV coach, I had the grimy hours where you got to go 6:30 to 8:30 with a young family. So I wasn't getting home at 9:30, some quarter to 10, take 3 kids home. I had to make a rule like, look, man, I don't live in Cleveland. I got to drive to Akron. So your parents got to be here to pick you up. I just put a rule when I was JV coach. I don't give rides. I'm sorry, man. I love y'all. But you my dude. But my wife, I got to get home by at least 9:30. So she's always been supportive. She knows how much it means to me, how passionate I am about it. She's always been there for me with it, man, from day one when I became the coach in 97 when Terry was a freshman to now 2025, soon to be 26. She's been there along the whole way.
All the time.
Just super loyal, super committed. She's very caring, understanding. Like I said, she knows that I care about it and I love it. And she wants to be part of it. I'll tell you a quick little story about her. When I decided to step away from administration, I was a principal in Shaker for 18 years.
Yeah.
I was an 8th grade assistant principal for a while. Then I became the principal of Shaker Heights Middle School for 4. Left, went to Woodbury for 6. And then I decided to get back to my passion, which is school counseling. Because I thought it matched better with coaching. Yeah. The principal job can be grueling itself, and then you're trying to be head coach. That was a lot. Now that I'm out of it, I don't know how I was a principal and head coach at the same time.
Hard time.
And those are during some of my most successful seasons. Yeah. But now that I'm here in the building, I don't know how I did it without it. Like, just being able to walk the hall, Coach Young, what's up? You got your grips. You got your love.
They not having those conversations.
Hey,
even
you got the halls. Hey, respect that teacher. You know, who was doing that if I wasn't here? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I was doing it from afar. Right. But being here is just great. But I came on and told her, I said, Kenya, I think I'm done being a principal. Yeah. She said, you know, because you get paid decent money as a principal Shaker. You get paid. You ain't rich, but you make good money.
You all right.
I said, it's going to be a 20 grand cut. She said, huh? But is that what you want to do? I said, yeah. You still going to coach? I said, of course. Support. She said, whatever you want to do, I got your back.
That's support.
So it's been like that forever, man. And she, in the summer when you see me, sometimes she'll flow in.
I see her, I see her
flow
up top.
in, you know.
I hear her up there serving.
As long as I check in, just check in. Yeah. Check in. I'll make sure you're all right. Yeah. Make sure you're good. And that's what. Just check in on me, and then the rest is history, man. Yeah, that's my girl, man.
That's good.
And we met on the hoop court. I was playing. I was like 2021. Playing the Akron Pool League. I don't know if you heard of the Akron Pool League.
Not familiar.
I was playing for a team called the Ghetto Boys by Coach Bo, Summit Lake. Little black cutoff shirt. You know, I was hooping, hot. I was getting off too, busting. Got a little boom. I ain't really no dunker, but I got me a little one. Coach Bo takes me out. I'm sweating. And then she over there in the cut looking at me. And I turn and give her a little wink. I gave her one of those. I gave her one of those, man. And the rest is history, man. The rest is history.
She ain't never left since.
She ain't never left since. I got that on camera, Kenya.
I love. She gonna love that. That is, you know, that's
real talk. That's the story.
That's the story. But again, that's what basketball. Basketball does so many different things besides bounce, and I think people don't understand that. They're like, you know. First of all, you can't play this game forever. At some point, you get old, and you get tired. You know, I feel like I'm old. I'm 32,
man,
and I get tired, man. It's like, look, I be trying to get to it just a little bit. I like have some fun, but that's what I was explaining to you this summer, man. I put my own team in it this summer to impact the youth. Like I want to give the youth, like not even like youth, like young, but I want to give those, you know, kids who are still in college, maybe a couple years left, or just leaving, give them an opportunity to play on the stage against other pros and you know, other players like that, you know. And I watch the development of your son, and you know, every year he's gotten better and better. But you told me he's like a gym rat, man. He always wants to work out. He's at the gym. But my question for you, my next question is, how did your relationship with your son and coaching, like how did you split those two in half? Because as a father, you want the best for your son, and you don't want to make it about him. Exactly. And then at the same time, he's got your full name, you know. So it's like a target for him. It's like, you know. So how did coaching? How did that go? How did that split work?
I always knew that he wanted to play for me. Yeah. And so I knew that the stress that was going to cause, especially at a place like Shaker. Yeah. Shaker can be political at times. I feel what I mean? In a good way. Yeah. In a good way. Nothing negative. Yeah. So I just made sure when he was young, he worked extremely hard. Yeah. He was the best player on his 8th grade team. Won one undefeated championship, lost in the finals of another, almost back to back. And then gets to the high school. And that's where it became a little, he's only going to play because his dad. He's going to start because of his dad. That's the story. But no, he's going to start because he's better.
For sure.
He's good. He put the work in. So he helped me. Yeah. Here's how he helped me. Game 1 at Akron Firestone showcase against Buchtel, Chris Livingston, who's a pro. Now, he was a freshman. Danny's a freshman. They boys. Yeah. They know each other. They grew up in the same area a little bit before Danny came to Shaker.
Got you.
So D on his first varsity game, there's video out there. If you Google it, the video is out there.
Proof in the pudding.
I think he put up 35,
Okay.
5-5, with a 20-point win over Buchtel in a showcase packed. Of course, everybody come to see Chris Livingston.
Yeah.
Some people knew Danny, but most didn't know it.
Yeah.
But when they left,
They knew.
they knew like, who is that? Yeah, we know Chris. He a pro.
Yeah.
But who is that? That helped. 2 nights later, here in the Raider Dome, we're going to play Garfield Heights. Sonny Johnson Jr. was a freshman. Michi Johnson was a sophomore junior.
Yeah.
Danny came to my office. He said, Dad, I'm pissed. I said, why you pissed? He said, all the kids are betting that we're going to lose by 20. And they say I'm going to get smashed by the Johnson brothers. I said, okay. What you going to do about it? What you
can't tell me for?
What you going to tell me for? What you going to do about it? He said, I said, you ready for the lights? I said, now you thought the Livingston lights were bright.
Yeah.
You in the Raider Dome.
You at your crib.
Garfield versus Shaker at that time was one of the best rivalries around.
Yeah.
He gave me a look like,
I know what's going on.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I know what to do.
Again, 35. I think he had like 8 threes. I take him out with 3 to go. He could have probably, the rim was like the ocean. There's video on that too. And I took him out. So then those 2 games kind of squashed the talk in the stands that Danny is only playing because his dad.
Yeah.
If he would have underperformed early, I think that have gave people ammunition to keep that rolling.
100%.
But those games kind of propelled like, okay, this kid can go. But there were some pressures. There were times where I remember the Atminter game, Shema had a good game, Dakota had a good game, and hit that wall a little bit. You know, when you go through the league the first time,
they see you.
They don't already know you.
Yeah.
You know, so you can get your 20 off, 25 off, 18 off. And that second time around,
we know
they know your tendencies. As a freshman, just out of middle school, he didn't know how to counter that.
Got you.
You know, so I remember he came home. I'm ripping him. I'm ripping him. Man, Shemai was killing. Dakota was killing. Man, you stunk the joint up. That's all he loved. You know, and he was so hurt. And then this one thing my wife does that was good. She don't ever interrupt when I'm beating him up, and I was beating him up. I was beating him up.
Yeah.
What she would do is, "Are you done?" I'm done. She said, "Come here, Danny." She'll go in his bedroom, close the door. I'm not allowed in.
Yeah.
And they do whatever they do.
Yeah.
But when he come out, he's better. That was her time. I don't know what was said. I don't want to know what was said, but it was better.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where my assistant coach, Brian B, the OG, Brian B that cooks for the kids, go pick the kids up. He told me, he said, man, you too hard on that boy, man. You're going to ruin him, Danny. I was trying to prove to the audience that I'm coaching him harder than everybody else. But I think that was part of some of them games where he wasn't performing because it was overkill. And then here's where I got better at it. Ron B got on me, but then Dakota, Dante Benjamin, Eric Mudd, Shema, all the guys came to me and said, Dakota especially being the captain, he said, Coach, we understand what you're doing. He said, you ain't got to do that. He good, Coach. He said, Coach, he good. Coach, you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to make him cry in practice because you're trying to prove a point to us.
Yeah,
we like Danny.
Yeah.
He our dude.
I like that.
We gonna ride with him.
Yeah.
And when the player said that, I almost said, I don't care what the stands say no more. I'm done with the stands. I don't care no more. And then when Ron B said, ease up on your coaching, I talked to my guy, Chris Stanzik. He gave me some good advice. I talked to Flannery a little bit. I talked to Sean O'Toole. I talked to Sonny.
All good guys.
All good guys. I took a little piece out of all of them.
Yeah.
And what I decided, my mentor from West Virginia, Jimmy Clayton, told me, don't you coach him during the game. Give him to one of your assistants. You coach everybody else. So that's what I did the rest of his 4 years.
And that worked.
I didn't really say much to him. I don't know if you noticed that. I didn't really say much to him.
Yeah.
You know, I let Coach Lewis and Coach Foster. You got D, I got everybody else.
Right.
So if you look at some video back in the day, you will see Kevin with him, you will see AB. You don't see me and him interacting too often on the sideline. And I think once I did that, boom. It took off.
Was crazy after that.
I was on a path to probably squashing his talent.
100%.
Because I'm trying to prove a point that I'm coaching him harder than everybody else.
And I think we fall into that we fall into that narrative of trying to make sure we're people pleasing and you know being a dad is number one. So like you know as you being a dad, it's like man I want to I think this is not your first rodeo coaching, so it's like you want to be a good obviously want to be a good coach, but at the same time. I'm still a dad, and I can't overlook the fact that like you're my son.
Exactly.
Like, no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. This is my kid.
That's it.
So I got to make sure he's in, a good situation or whatever. But, I think that's huge, letting other people coach him, and then you just taking care of the other team. And then the players, that's a testament to like what you created and the environment you did, because all those guys, they stepped up and said, hey, look, man, this is what having the team captain really be like, hey, look, coach, like, we see what's going on, man. Like, we good here. Like, you ain't got to prove nothing to us. Like, we want to win, you know? And he was, at that time, helping you guys win every game. And obviously, I've seen his growth, natural leader. And he gets, he gets those qualities from you, the wife. Like, I've seen you, get out that coach's box a couple times, and I'm like, oh, here go Danny. Here you go. But I don't think people understand how much of a playful guy you are. Like, you'll be, fired up, but you're not that fired up. No, you really just, you know what I'm saying?
It's all acting,
so
it's a show.
It's for the next call. You like, I had to do that for the next call. I was like, I get it. So, that's huge, man. That's one thing. Your son is. He's taking off. He was at Cleveland State.
Yep.
Now he's, Salt Lake City.
Utah.
So that's going to be, that's what you told me. Good situation
Just dropped him off last week.
Man.
His coach is Dave Rice.
Okay.
He's a Rhodes Scholar. He got his start under Raleigh Massimino.
Okay.
UNLV. He's coached 33 NBA guys. He took us out to dinner, me and my wife and Daniel, when I dropped him off.
Yeah.
And I said, hold up, coach. Hold that thought. I told my son, I said, there shouldn't be a day that goes by that you don't say something to that man and talk to that coach.
Got to.
Listen to what he just said to us, Danny.
Yeah.
He's coached 33 NBA dudes, and you're going to be with him for a whole year.
Yeah.
You need to absorb. He said, Danny, I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know what it sounds like. And this made me feel good. He said, and you have a chance.
He got a chance for sure.
He said, you have a chance. So I dropped him off in some great, great hands. And what I appreciate, he hasn't been appreciated in terms of like after me and then Spire. Mm-hmm. Something else I want to talk about real quick was Spire.
Yeah.
After high school, Coach Gates was the first recruiter that offered him to Cleveland State. He left with Missouri. He says, though, when Cleveland State, I want him to go to a prep school because all these dudes at that time, pandemic, they came back, no scholarship. But I still want him. But let's go to Spire. And what made me feel good was the coach came. He said, I'm pretty close to offering full ride. He said, I want to see him play against I scheduled a game where we play Spire.
Yeah.
Here at Shaker. And so the whole Spire staff for the post-high school grad team was in the gym. And Danny torched them dudes, man. Because when I first saw them dudes warming up, they don't go to class all day.
Yeah.
D in class. Yeah. They training, Vertimax. They getting shooting. D in class, he got to get 2 hours, and I'm going to go work out after our practice. But this is what they do, and they were cut up and big.
Yeah, big dudes.
He might have his hands full on this. So D torched them dudes, man.
Yeah.
He was cooking them. Having his way. I'm thinking, these dudes train on? That had me thinking like that. The coaches came back, said, full ride offer, we want him, coach.
Yeah.
And then the same things that he did for me in the high school, where, his last year, we hadn't won the league since Issa. We hadn't won the GCC or the LEL 2015. We hadn't won the league in 7 years.
Man.
I was able to, with my son and his teammates, we won the league his senior year.
Man, that's
2002. So that was pretty dope. We have pictures of us on the ladder, cutting the net, throwing the peace sign up. So he went out on a high. He didn't go as far as he wanted that last year, but he went far the year before that when Dakota was seniors.
For sure.
And we got shut down in the pandemic. We were supposed to play Mentor to go to Columbus. But he had a good high school career. But he really did a good job at Spire, made first team OPC, almost got player of the year, but won a lot. Yeah. And I had nothing to do with that.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So all those naysayers that said he only hooped because his dad is the head coach. No, he did it at Spire on a post-grad level without me ever being nowhere around.
Showed
you know what I mean? And then didn't have a good break at Cleveland State. It is what it is. I'm not going to harp on that. Yeah. But he is in a situation where he's highly, highly, highly valued as a player, as a person, and I think the end result is going to be pretty positive.
For sure, but I've learned a lot over the years, and talking to people and talking about journeys specifically. And I really think that everything happened how it was supposed to happen at the time frame that it did, because if it didn't, he would have missed this situation by, you know, a microcosm of, you know, what's going on. But I think, you know, I think those journeys along the way guided and shifted and made him who he is. But you would have never known he was battling any of that by talking to him. He's the same guy. Every time I talk to him, he's the same dude. He goes out his way to speak. He goes out his way when he's leaving. Hey, bro, I'm gonna come. You know, I'm gonna say bye to you. You know, whatever. And that just comes from just me seeing him and being consistent with conversation with him. So I think stuff like that is huge. And I think, you know, you and your wife raising a great young man.
Thank you.
And I think that's the character flow that's gonna help him, you know, over the hump. And when I watched him play this summer, I think I was guarding him, and I was like, I'm gonna let him shoot because he can't shoot the ball that well.
Yeah.
Man, that might have been the worst idea I had all summer. You know, he came out, and I said, oh my goodness, he is on a mission. Right? And it's just he controlled the game. He got what he wanted when he wanted it, how he wanted it, and that's what I think that's gonna separate him. But I think he learned all of those things. Just, you know, basketball has taught him how to be a young man, you know, on and off the court, and how to be a leader on and off the court. And I think, like, that's what, you know, the wisdom he got from just hooping. Like, some kids miss out on these things because they don't play these team sports. So, like, they don't know how to be a teammate. Like, you learned how to be a teammate because you played basketball. And, like, you played a team sport where, you know, it took everybody to win. Like, with basketball, you can have one or two guys that can go crazy, but, like, how many games are you really going to win, or how far are you going to go? Like, you're going to be regular season heroes, and then you're going to run into a buzzsaw. So those are things that, you know, we're trying to instill in kids. I want them to watch and understand what we are doing, you know, for the community, because people need to know some of these stories.
Absolutely.
People need to know, like, you know, this guy was this before he became who we are, because they don't know that. Like, kids nowadays, you know, we got all social media and all of that, but they don't do throwbacks of, oh yeah, you know, Danny used to coach in 2006, you know, like, they don't know none of that, like, you know, so that's huge, man, and we just got to keep growing and keep building off that. So, you know, those are things that you know, we're targeting, man, and obviously it's good to have you out here.
I appreciate the opportunity,
and definitely tell your story. And we're looking forward to seeing you this year, seeing what you guys do. And we'll be to some games. Obviously, we want to come out. We'll come out, maybe, you know, check some games out. But you know, we're here, man. We're gonna keep it rolling and keep it going. But I'm glad I got a chance to sit down, talk with the good Danny Young, man, the hometown hero.
Yes,
so,
thank you, man.
Absolutely. You good? Perfect, bro.
That was